Checking whether we are live. Very, very good evening to one and all. Good evening, all of you. Yes, we are live now. We are live and we are going to start with third session of input tax credit. Yes, guys, third session of input tax credit. Our discussion is going well on, yes, ITC's availment and utilization, rather eligibility and availment. That is section 16. Today's discussion is going to be on, yes, today's discussion is going to be on utilization of that ITC. ITC which you have availed, ITC which you have availed is there in your e-credit ledger? Yes or no? The ITC which you have availed is there in your e-credit ledger? Now that availed ITC we have to utilize. Okay. So till yesterday what we have done in section 16 and in ITC, we have seen who can claim ITC. Yes, a registered person can claim ITC on inward supply of goods or services or both which are used in course or furtherance of business. And we have seen that this ITC gets credited to e-credit ledger, and on satisfaction of 4 conditions this ITC can be claimed. 4 plus 2 now actually. So 4 conditions. He should be in possession of tax invoice. The tax on the supply should be actually paid to the government. Goods or services should have been actually received. Isn't it? So yes. And what were the other conditions? GST return should have been furnished. And the details of this particular purchase should have been furnished in GSTR 1 by the supplier. Correct? And they should be reflected in the GSTR 2A of the recipient of supply. So on satisfaction of these conditions, ITC can be claimed. So I hope that these points are very clear to all of you. Yes. And yesterday we have also done the last date of claiming ITC, which was given in 16/4. And also we have seen that if you are purchasing any capital goods, plant, machine, then it is not possible to claim depreciation. Yes, not possible to claim depreciation on what? On the GST element. If you claim depreciation on the GST element, you cannot claim ITC. Isn't it? So this way, we have done till this point. Now we will go ahead and see utilization of input tax credit. Shall we go ahead and check how to use the input tax credit? Yes. So we are checking now utilization of input tax credit. Why will input tax credit be used? For simple reason, ITC will be used to pay output tax. Yes. So utilization of input tax credit. Of course, after this utilization, we have to go to other points, like in which cases ITC will be blocked. We have to check that. We have to also check apportionment of ITC. But what I thought is, what we will first do is, first we have seen the conditions for availment of ITC. After the conditions, we have availed the ITC. So obviously now we should see where to use this ITC. So utilization of ITC will be only and only for the purpose of paying output tax. Okay. So utilization of ITC for paying output tax. So you will say, sir, what's so special in that? Why are you telling us that it is used to pay output tax? What I want to tell you is it cannot be used for paying any interest, penalty, late fees. It cannot be used for that. It can only be used for paying output tax. Okay. Now, so which section talks about this utilization of ITC? It is section 49, subsection 5. Now, not only 49.5, 49A, 49B. Okay, section 49 subsection 5, 49A, 49B, read with rule, read with rule 88A. So when you read all these things combined, of course 88A of CGST rules and all the sections of CGST Act with these sections 49.5, 49A, 49B, read with rule 88A of CGST rules. Clear? 49.5, 49A, 49B, and finally rule 88A. Okay, so we will check now how ITC is utilized. So yes, if you are doing intrastate purchase, that is within the state purchase, you must be having balance of CGST and SGST. If you are doing interstate purchase, you have balance of IGST. In short, when I talk about ITC, you can have following balances. You can have balance of CGST. Okay, let me write it like this. You can have balance of IGST. You can have balance of CGST. You can have balance of SGST. Agreed? You can have balance of IGST. You can have balance of CGST. You can have balance of SGST. Okay. Why have you got balance of IGST? Because you must have done interstate purchase. Why have you got balance of CGST, SGST? You must have done intra-state purchase. So CGST and UTGST, for them, we can do a common discussion. Now, what is the sequence of using this balance? So first you will use ITC of IGST. First, you will use ITC of IGST. ITC of IGST will be used to pay. So, will be used to pay output tax. Of course, it will be used to pay output tax of IGST. This is the first thing that you should do. You should touch ITC of IGST first to pay output tax of IGST. And guys, if after this there is any balance left in the ITC of IGST, that balance should be used, and balance, if any, there could be some balance, and balance, if any, it should be utilized to pay CGST and SGST. How? In any order and any proportion, no sequence as such, in any order and any proportion, in any order and in any proportion. Is it clear to all of you? Yes or no? First, utilize ITC of IGST to pay output tax of IGST. So I will call this as 1. Second, you will use remaining balance of IGST to pay CGST and SGST in any order and any proportion. Clear? Then guys, then touch ITC of CGST. ITC of CGST will be used to pay output tax of CGST. It will be used to pay output tax of CGST, and balance, again balance, if any, to pay output tax of IGST. Balance, if any, to pay output tax of IGST. Agreed? But no way you can use CGST to pay SGST. You can never use CGST to pay SGST. or UTGST. Okay. Then touch balance of SGST. SGST will be utilized to pay output tax of SGST, and balance if any, it will be utilized to pay output tax of IGST. But no way you can use SGST to pay, no way you can use that SGST or UTGST to pay, yes, CGST. Clear? Did you understand the sequence? So see the sequence, if I want to number it, first number goes to utilizing ITC of IGST to pay output tax of IGST. Second number goes to balance utilization of that IGST to pay CGST and SGST in any order and proportion. Third number goes to CGST for paying output tax of CGST, balance if any for paying IGST. Fifth number goes to utilizing, yes, ITC of SGST to pay output tax of SGST, and balance if any to pay output tax of IGST. Is the sequence very clear to all of you? Remember, always first exhaust, ITC of IGST before going for utilization of ITC of CGST or SGST. So first exhaust ITC of IGST. Is it clear to all of you? Is this clear? Please let me know quickly so that we can proceed to doing a lot of questions on this so that this becomes crystal clear to you. Yes, once you put up a thumbs up in the chat window, we can go ahead and do a lot of questions on this so that this utilization becomes crystal clear to all of you. Checking the chat window, guys. Okay. Okay. Let's go to questions based on this. 17th question on page 27. Okay. 17th question on page 27. K, a supplier of goods, pays GST under regular scheme. Regular scheme means, he has not opted for composition scheme. He has not opted for section 10 composition scheme. He made following outward taxable supplies in month of November 2020. Okay, following outward supplies. So these are your sales. These are as good as your sales, outward supplies. So on this, there is going to be output tax. Agreed? On this, there is going to be output tax. He has also furnished following information in respect of purchases made by him in that tax period. Okay. Now, somehow, okay, let me tell you, this 6 lakh rupees, is intrastate. This 2 lakh rupees is interstate. Okay, understand? Yes. And now he has the following ITCs with him on 1st November 2020. These are the nothing but opening balances of ITC. So opening balance of CGST, opening balance of SGST, opening balance of IGST. Assume that the CGST, SGST, IGST rates are 6%, 6% and 12% respectively. and both inward and outward supply are exclusive of taxes, and all conditions necessary for availing ITC have been fulfilled. Okay. Question is, you have to compute net GST payable. Okay. So shall we go ahead and do the computation of net GST payable? Yes. Let's compute net GST payable. So, of course, what you have to do is net GST payable. Net GST payable will be nothing but output tax minus, you have to reach to this, output tax minus input tax credit. This output tax minus input tax credit will be your net GST payable. Okay. This output tax you will get on outward supplies. Obviously, this you will get on outward supplies. And input tax credit you will get on two things. There's a opening balance. There is a opening balance plus on purchases. Plus on purchases during the month. Yes or no? So this way you will get net GST payable. Output tax minus input tax credit. That will give you net GST payable. Okay. Output tax will be on outward supplies. Input tax will be with respect to opening balances plus, ITC, that is GST on purchases during the month. Let's go ahead and now solve it. I could have directly done computation of net GST payable, but we will have to get the total ITC, and total ITC is opening balance plus on purchases. So we will first show the statement wherein we can derive what is the ITC for the month. So what you have to do is, first statement or first working, it's page number 27, 28. Yes. So computation of input tax credit admissible. Computation of input tax credit admissible for the month of, which month we are talking about? We are talking about month of November 2020. Yes. For the month of November 2020 for K. For K. Particulars, and obviously you have CGST, SGST, IGST, all the balances. CGST, SGST, and of course IGST. Okay. Starts with, never forget, all figures in rupees. Figures in rupees. Start with A point, opening balance. What are your opening balances? You have to just take the opening balances. 70,000, 60,000, 45,000. 70,000, 60,000, 45,000. These are your opening balances. Add add first on intrastate purchases. Now, what are intrastate purchases? Intrastate purchases are worth 6 lakh rupees. Check. So you will do 6 lakh into 6% each. The percentage of GST is already given to you. So it is 36,000. 36,000. Subpoint 2 on interstate purchases. Your interstate purchases are 2 lakh rupees. Check. They are 2 lakh rupees. So 2 lakhs into, directly you will take 12%. 2 lakh into 12% is 24,000. So what you do now is, therefore, total input tax credit. Now what is total input tax credit? Is your total input tax credit 1,06,000, 96,000 and 69,000? Check and tell me. Are you all getting input tax credit as 1,06,000, 96,000 and 69,000 of CGST, SGST and IGST respectively? Of CGST, SGST and IGST respectively. Yes, very good. So now what we will do is, we will go ahead and calculate net GST payable, which will be output tax minus input tax credit. So now go ahead and make the statement. Computation of net GST payable. Computation of net GST payable by K. By K for the month of November. For the month of November. Particulars. CGST, SGST, IGST. CGST, SGST, IGST. All figures in rupees. Now check and tell me, what is your output tax? Okay, output tax. First of all, on intrastate supply of goods. So intrastate supply of goods is 14 lakhs. So A point on intrastate supply. Intrastate supply is 14 lakh rupees. And you know that rate of GST is 6% each. Check and tell me, what is your output tax on intrastate supply? Okay. So prima facie, no limit. Okay. As we go ahead, we will learn one small limit, but prima facie, remember, no limit, you can take ITC to the extent you want. Okay. And secondly, what I want to tell you is, there is no time limit also. You can, whatever ITC you have availed correctly, that can be utilized. Whatever ITC you have availed correctly, that can be utilized for n number of months. There is no problem. You can carry forward it and use it. So what is it 84,000 CGST, 84,000 SGST, no IGST. B point on interstate supply. Now your interstate supply check, it is 10 lakh rupees. So on 10 lakh at 12%, it is 1,20,000. Okay. So one of the student is asking, sir, then what about the limit which we discussed yesterday, 30th November? Guys, that limit is for availment of ITC. Once you avail the ITC, I am saying there is no time limit for utilization. Correct? The ITC which you have correctly availed in the e-credit ledger, you can use it anytime. Got it? So for depositing check in the bank, there is a time limit. But for using that money, there is no time limit. I hope you have got the point. Less input tax credit. Less input tax credit. Yes. I hope you got the point. For availment, there is a time limit. For utilization, there is no time limit. Okay. Now in input tax credit, which balance will you touch first? You have to first touch ITC of IGST. That you have to touch first, isn't it? You have to exhaust that first. So less input tax credit with respect to IGST. It is 69,000. Yes. So please touch that first. It is over. After each step, calculate balance payable. So now balance payable after this step is 84,000, 84,000 and 51,000. Agreed? Balance payable is 84,000, 84,000 and 51,000. Now, with respect to, now you will touch ITC of CGST. What is the ITC of CGST? ITC of CGST is, yes, 1,06,000. Now take that 1,06,000 and use it. Okay. With respect to CGST, to pay, first you will use to pay CGST. Okay, so how much you are using to pay CGST? Complete 84,000. Okay, now balance ITC of CGST to pay IGST. Got it? Now what is balance ITC of CGST? Overall was 1,06,000. Out of 1,06,000, you have used 84,000. Yes. So how much is the balance? Balance is, check. Check whether balance is 22,000. So please use 22,000. And now tell me, what is therefore balance payable? So what is balance payable now? Now balance payable is nil for CGST, 84,000 continues for SGST, and for your IGST, Do you have 29,000 still payable? Check. Check whether still you have got 29,000 payable. Yes. Now you have balance, still you have balance of ITC of SGST. Okay, now touch SGST. What is the SGST's ITC? 96,000. Please take this 96,000 now. So what you will do is, with respect to ITC of SGST. Okay, take ITC of SGST. To pay output tax of SGST. To pay output tax of SGST. Okay, so it is how much? Total it is 96,000. Total it is 96,000. First use for SGST 84,000. Okay, now balance ITC. Balance ITC of SGST to pay output tax of of course IGST. So use it. So obviously it is 84,000, sorry, 96,000 minus 84,000, that is your 12,000 rupees. Okay, how we have done this? If you want to show it, 96,000 minus 84,000. So now please get net GST payable, because each and every ITC is now over. Now please get net GST payable. So what is your net GST payable? Therefore, net GST payable. Is net GST payable nil for CGST, nil for SGST, and obviously for IGST it is 17,000. Did you get it? Tell me once you complete it. If any doubt, please let me know. If any doubt, kindly let me know in the chat window. I'll be more than happy to resolve your doubt if any. Please let me know. And once you complete it, put a thumbs up in the chat window so that we can do presentation of note for this. First, we exhausted ITC of IGST. After exhausting that, we touched ITC of CGST. Then lastly, we have touched ITC of SGST. How did we do that? First, ITC of IGST was utilized to pay output tax of IGST. Okay. But in this case, what happened is entire ITC of IGST got exhausted to pay output tax of IGST. Because what happened is only 69,000 was ITC of IGST. Then you have touched ITC of CGST, which you used first to pay output tax of CGST. Okay. And balance you have to use to pay output tax of IGST. So that you did, because your total ITC of CGST was 1,06,000. From that 1,06,000, you utilized 84,000 to pay output tax of CGST and balance to pay output tax of, yes, IGST. Similar thing you did with ITC of SGST. And you know that in no case ITC of CGST can be utilized to pay output tax of SGST, and ITC of SGST in no case can be used to pay output tax of CGST. So write that note. Will not write, of course, from the next sum, but in exam it's mandatory to put up this note. First, as per section 49, as per section 49, subsection 5 of CGST Act, section 49A, 49B, read with rule 88A, read with rule 88A of CGST rules. ITC of IGST is to be first utilized. ITC of IGST is to be first utilized to pay output tax of IGST, and balance, if any, and balance, if any, shall be utilized to pay output tax of CGST and SGST, of CGST and SGST in any order and in any proportion, in any order and in any proportion. Is it clear to all of you? Yes or no? In any order and in any proportion. So go to second note now. What is second note? Further, ITC of CGST shall be utilized. Further, ITC of CGST shall be utilized to pay output tax, of CGST, and balance, if any, shall be utilized to pay output tax of IGST. To pay output tax of IGST. Now from next sum, you will write the notes yourself. This note of 49.5 you will write yourself. Okay. And last note will be, moreover, ITC of SGST shall be utilized to pay output tax of SGST. Output tax of SGST. And balance, if any, to pay output tax of IGST. Is it clear to all of you? Please let me know quickly, so that we have 4 more questions to practice on this. Why, sir, so many questions? Because permutation combinations will be different. Correct. In this question, so entire ITC of IGST got exhausted to pay output tax of IGST itself. There could be different permutation combinations. So for that, we are doing, yes, few more questions for practice. Yes. So I hope this is clear to you. Very simple concept and commonly asked in the exams. And obviously, you should know this concept practically as well. Very critical concept. Fine. Let's go ahead. Now, in your questions, in this additional questions, you have got topic of payment of GST. Okay, that is on page number 30. So page number 30, if you see, you will get first question on payment of GST. We will do that question. Tell me. Once you are ready to solve this, let me know. Shall we? So check. Following are details of purchase and sales effected by T and Company, registered manufacturer under CGST Act. Purchased raw material A from local dealer 86,100, which is inclusive of GST at 5%. Purchased another raw material 1,12,000, which is also inclusive of GST. Purchased capital goods within the state. Okay. By the way, earlier two purchases were also within the state. Local dealer. To be used in manufacture of taxable goods, 1,96,000, again inclusive of GST. On this, depreciation is at 15%. Other direct and indirect expenses, 55,460. You will say, sir, why all this information is given of purchases, of other direct, indirect expenses, and also profit margin is given, which is 5% of cost. So all this information is given because they are not giving you the selling price. Selling price of goods is not given. So what you will have to do? You will have to compute selling price. How will you compute selling price? All the costs plus profit will give you selling price. Okay. So on this selling price, you will get output tax. Did you get the point? Yes. During the month of October 2020, only, mind you guys, it is some misprint here. This percentage is not printed, that how much of the production is sold. So just give me 1 second. I will tell you how much of production was sold. Not everything was sold. Only 70%. How much production was sold? Only 70% of production is sold within the state. Okay, that means 30% is unsold. And GST rate is 12%. You have to calculate CGST, SGST payable after utilizing ITC for the month of October 2020, and there is no opening balance. There is no opening balance of ITC. Is the question clear to all of you? So in short, same thing you have to do. Output tax minus input tax credit. What is the difference? Difference between earlier question and this question is that sale price is not directly given. Assessable value is not directly given. We will have to compute assessable value. Right? Did you get a point? So when we compute assessable value, we will be in a position to get output tax. And of course, we can find out ITC. Okay. So let's do it. So this is question number 1. Question number 1. Page. Is it page number 30? Page 30. GST additional questions. Okay. Yes. So write down. First of all, what we'll do is computation of assessable value. Computation of assessable value and output tax. Computation of assessable value and output tax for T and company. For T and company. For the month of which month? For the month of November 2020. Okay. So what you will do now is particulars and of course amount rupees. Okay, it starts with A point. It starts with A point. Purchase cost of raw material A. Purchase cost of raw material A, isn't it? See, 86,100 is the purchase cost, but it is including GST of 5%. Now what you have to do? This cost, my dear friends, you all want it to be excluding GST. Why you want it to be excluding GST? Because of that GST paid on purchase, you are going to claim ITC. So if you recollect our basic example of A selling goods to B, B selling goods to C, and C selling goods to D, every time purchase cost was taken excluding GST. Yes or no? Check. See this. Lot of things we have done. Na? See this typical chain. This typical chain. When A was selling goods to B for 11,800, including GST of 1,800, for B, we had taken purchase cost as 10,000 only. Because of course, of 1,800 he gets ITC. Agreed? For C, when B was selling for 17,700, we had taken purchase cost as 15,000 only. And of 2,700, we had taken ITC. Yes or no? I had shown you the accounting entry also. So do you agree with me that every time purchase cost will be taken excluding GST? Because we are claiming ITC. GST paid to your supplier cannot form part of cost. Do you agree with me that GST paid to supplier cannot form part of cost? Yes. So you should take purchase cost of raw material A excluding GST. So it is going to be 86,100. You know that 86,100. See, it's like this. 86,100 is including GST of 5. So if we assume base cost to be 100, 86,100 will be equal to 105. So 100 will be how much? Cross multiply. You will get the 100. So 86,100 into 100 by 105. You have to tell me what is our purchase cost of raw material A. Is it 82,000? Yes. B point, purchase cost of raw material B. Again, same thing. Same thing. You want it to be excluding GST. So it is going to be 1,12,000 into 100 by 112. Okay, check. Check. 1,12,000 including GST of 12%. So you are going to get 1 lakh. Okay. C point. Continue. What is C point? C point is there is capital goods also purchased. But on capital goods, you can only take depreciation. Depreciation on capital goods. Okay. Now, cost of capital goods on which depreciation is to be taken should be, of course, again excluding GST. Should be excluding GST. Okay. Therefore, how will you do the computation now? It was 1,96,000. Check. 1,96,000 was including GST at 12%. So 1,96,000 into 100 by 112. Okay. This gives you the basic price of machine, that is excluding GST. On this, calculate depreciation at 15%. So what is that? 1,75,000 you must be getting. Check into 12%. Sorry, into 15%. So what is that? Is it 26,250? Check and tell me whether you are getting 26,250. And finally, there is other direct and indirect expense. Other direct and indirect expense, which is yes, check, which is 55,460. So take 55,460. Therefore, you will get total cost. Mind you, this is total cost of goods produced. Check and tell me what is total cost of goods produced. Is it 2,63,710? Check. Tell me whether you are getting 2,63,710. Yes. Now what happens? Therefore, cost of goods sold. Now, cost of goods sold is 70%. Calculate 7. It's given there. It's given there that 70% of the goods are sold. Check this. 70%. So what is cost of goods sold? 70% of above. So are you getting it as 1,84,597? Yes. You are getting it as 1,84,597. You add in this profit. Profit is at what percent? Profit, check. Where is the profit percentage given? Earned 5% profit. Can you see? Earned 5% profit. So calculate profit at 5% of cost. Are you getting it as 9,230 rupees? Check. Are you getting it at 9,230? Yes. Now, therefore, assessable value. So, what is assessable value, which is also called as transaction value, which is nothing but your selling price. Is it 1,93,827? 1,93,827? Got it? And now please calculate. Therefore, CGST, because it's an intrastate supply. So CGST at, what is the percentage of GST given? Check. On sales, the GST is at 12%. Can you check? Sold within state and applicable GST is at 12%. So CGST at 12%. Sorry, 6%. Because total GST is 12%. CGST at 6%. SGST at 6%. Please calculate it. 1,93,827 into 6%. Are you getting 11,630 each? Check whether you are getting 11,630 each. Guys, almost we have reached to end of this solution. Are you with me till this point? Have you got 11,630 each? Let me know in the chat window that whether so this way you have to find out the cost. Okay. So let's go ahead now. Now what we will do is Do you know what is the ITC? Let's find out ITC. So computation of input tax credit. Okay. How do we compute input tax credit? On raw material A. On raw material A. Okay, see, if you know that there is CGST and SGST both, you can do like this. So on raw material A, you know now that purchase cost is 82,000 and GST totally was 5%. So 2.5% each. So what is going to be CGST and what is going to be SGST? So 82,000 into 2.5%. Is it 2050 each? Yes. Then go for raw material B. Go for raw material B. It was 1 lakh into 6% each. So it's going to be 6,000 each. And guys, finally, on machine also you should take ITC. So on capital goods, machine, whatever you call it, on that also you should take ITC. So you know that on cap goods, 1,75,000 was cost of cap goods. On that 1,75,000, you calculate at 6% each. Are you getting 10,500 each? Yes. Please take total. Are you getting 18,550 each? Yes. 18,550. This will be called as total input tax credit. Why total input tax credit? Because there is no opening balance. So this is your total input tax credit. Please let me know whether you have understood till this point. Let me know whether you have understood till this point so that we can go ahead and calculate net GST payable. Shall we calculate net GST payable? See now. Computation of net GST payable for what's the name of the SSE? For T and Company. For T and Company for the month of November 2020. For the month of November 2020. Now simple thing remaining. There is no challenge of utilization in this question. So particulars, CGST, SGST. Correct. Figures in rupees. There is no challenge of utilization in this question. Why no challenge? Output tax is of CGST and SGST and ITC is of same CGST, SGST. So, A point, output tax. If you check output tax, it is, we have calculated it, 11,630 each. 11,630 each, less input tax credit with respect to CGST. So of course, use ITC of CGST to pay output tax of CGST. So that's going to be 11,630. Use it completely. Here it is not applicable. And C point, less ITC with respect to SGST. So here it's not applicable. And here it is 11,630. So what will be your net GST payable? Now, your net GST payable obviously is nil. Net GST payable obviously is nil. But do you realize that we have a balance to be carried forward? Do you realize that we have a balance to be carried forward of ITC? So, what will happen now? Okay, balances of ITC to be carried forward. What is balances of ITC to be carried forward? Very simple. 18,550 was the ITC, but we have used only 11,630. So balances of ITC to be carried forward is 6,920 each. Isn't it? 6,920 each. Did you all get the point? Okay. Did you all get the point? One student is asking one question. Let me just read that. Suppose inputs were in IGST terms, means yes, if there was a purchase from interstate, other state, and outputs were intrastate, as in this case, yes, of course, then you can use the entire ITC of IGST to pay output tax of CGST and SGST in any order and in any proportion. Yes, in any order and in any proportion. Yes, so I hope it is very much clear to you. Yes. Now, guys, let's complete notes on this. Now, obviously, I'm not again going to write for you the note on 49.5. That note you will do. So I will just mention here about that note. But the note which I want you to write with me is this, that why we are taking cost of raw material. Why we are taking cost of raw material excluding GST. Okay. So, simple logic, simple reason behind that. ITC is admissible. ITC is admissible of GST. Okay. ITC is admissible of GST payable on purchases. Payable on purchases of inputs as well as capital goods. Inputs as well as capital goods. Clear? ITC is admissible of GST payable on purchase of inputs as well as capital goods. Therefore, the purchase cost, the purchase cost of what? Therefore, the purchase cost of raw material A, raw material A, raw material B, as well as yes, capital goods, is considered excluding GST. Is it clear to all of you? Is the discussion clear to all of you? And just going to write heading of second note, that is 49.5, 49A, 49B, read with rule 88A. So second is note about, second is note of 49.5, so that you can complete. So guys, I hope that this utilization point is very clear to all of you. And don't worry, in the next class, we will be doing 3 more questions on that. So all permutation combinations, you will get it. The practice questions are set in such a way that in each question, you will get a different permutation combination. Okay. So that eventually your doubt will get solved. I'm quite sure that at whatever, even if recording you're watching, whatever you're watching, this is very clear to you. If you're watching this here, please keep the channel subscribed so that you don't miss out on any important notifications and important updates. I'm quite sure. And now I'll see you tomorrow in the next class in the app. So from tomorrow, the classes will continue on the app. Okay. So please be continuous, be regular, be consistent in attending the classes, and be consistent in maintaining this notebook, as I always tell you. So guys, keep studying and keep